Well, once again it's silly 2 something o'clock and I'm going down a road. I've lived in Eastbourne all these years, I've never ever been down this road. It's a bit of a voyage of discovery, as I sometimes do with these new Street View things. I had a look yesterday. I was amazed by what I found. This is the entrance to the well-known Fowington Manor, or Folkeington if you want to say it that way, but locally it's Fowington. Quite a grand thing. That's probably a lodge house there, I'm guessing. Hopefully there's nobody in. But I just thought I'd film the entrance. This is the road I'm going down is like the boundary of the estate, and it's a big estate. I think it has been connected with a manor house on the other side of the A27 over various times, and very grand indeed. There's not much in Fowington, but what I am going to find, I think you'll be surprised by. There's not many houses up the road, but I've just discovered something very unusual. And I won a lot of brownie points for this. A Victoria Regina wall-mounted postbox, mounted in a concrete bollard. Look at that. That has got to be a very unusual feature. Has it always been there? I don't know. It's a working postbox. Amazing. Oh, public bridleway to Wilmington. Up here. Wow. How many brownie points can I have for that? Please let me know. An old farmhouse on the other side of the road there. Anyway, I'm not there yet. Keep going. This is an amazing place. This is the end of the road as far as the paved or tarmac road is concerned. I guess down there there's a few more houses, cottages, call it what you like, but this is all part of the private Fowington estate. And although folk are allowed here just to park and have a look, it's not encouraged to hang around, and I don't blame them. We're right up at the foot of the South Downs escarpment here. I'm not even quite sure which way we're facing, to be honest, because the sun's coming up over there, so I must be facing east now. But what do we find at the end of the road? Well, there's certainly a little jewel in the crown here. St Peter's Church, Fowington. And a board asking for donations. So let's have a look. I don't want to get too close, but there is the old rectory opposite, and I'll just very quickly take a look at it for you. This date's not as old as you might think. It was built in 1840. But this is what I've come to see. And there, up there, is Mr. Moon. I don't want to make too much noise in case people are asleep. This is St Peter ad Vincula, Fowington. What an amazing little find, way off the beaten track. The oldest parts of it date from the 13th century, and obviously over the years it's had some restoration, and I'm guessing probably particularly the tower here, which is of the weatherboard and shingle type, that you quite often find on these little downland churches, and when you look at the different tiling arrangements, you can see that it quite possibly was a renovation. But they don't call these spires, they call them spirelets. So let's go and take a look. One of the residents of the estate was a lady called Elizabeth David, and apparently she was a well-known cook. She's buried here, I don't know where, but we'll have a look round. I doubt very much whether we can go inside, but this lovely Norman type arch. It is probably locked at this time of day, and I don't think I'm going to. I don't think I'm going to try it, to be honest with you. But let's have a. Grass is a bit slippery. I have no idea where this lady's grave is. I certainly don't wish to disturb the peace too much. Just look at the view across there through these trees to where the sun's coming up. I think, but I'm not sure, that might even be Pevensey Bay out there. And looking across to Hastings. Anyway, it looks like they've got some staining in the windows. I wonder what that old door was for. You can certainly see from the different types of flintwork and rubble how restoration occurs over the years with these old churches. Now I've got to try and get down here without slipping on the grass. Ooh, today's eat. There we go. Now we go around the corner. And another yew tree. Oh, look at this. Isn't that lovely? You know, talk about taking you to places you didn't know you didn't know. And I'm in places I didn't know I didn't know. This is actually a working church, would you believe? It's a nice window there. They still have services here. Okay. Look under this tree. Yes, to be honest with you, I hadn't heard of this lady, Elizabeth David, until I read up a little bit about the church. She apparently lived on the Fowington estate. That's obviously a private entrance from the estate. As I say, I don't know where her grave is. There is a kind of memorial here. It looks as though it's almost like a war memorial. The Gwynns. Yes, this is Rupert Sackville Gwynn. Yes, these are some of the famous people that have owned the estate over the years. 1871 to 1948, 1924. Yes. Roland Gwynn, 1882 to 1971. Wow. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Oh, I hope I'm not treading on anybody's grave here. But here she is, in fondest memory of Elizabeth David, CBE. December 1913 to May 1992, the daughter of Rupert Gwynn, MP, and the Honourable Stella Gwynn of Wootton Manor, Folkeington, or Fowington. Now, Wootton Manor was actually on the other side of the A27, but the estate was jointly owned there and Fowington Estate. Her books on cookery brought joy and enhancement to food lovers all over the world. And I do understand that several currently well-known prominent chefs and cooks allude to her inspiration in their careers. So there we have it. The sun is coming up behind the trees over there, and it's time for me to move on, but I hope you've enjoyed this visit up the lane. Probably the first and last time I will ever drive up it, but I'm glad I did, and I hope you are too. There appears to be a bit of a problem there that will need attending, and as always with churches, dwindling congregations always need more and more money. The problem is, whilst we can't afford to keep them going, can we afford to lose them? This is the problem. Anyway, I'm going to shut the gate. And I'm going to say goodbye and good fortune. Just taking a stop off here. I have videoed here before, going back several years to my 2 videos on a trip to the Cuckmere Valley. However, at that time I went the other side. Everybody knows Alfriston, high and over. Not many people travel down this side of it, so this video, after the visit to Fowington Church that we've just done, I think I'm going to call the secret side of the Cuckmere Valley. There are some treasures here to see. Just thought I'd show you the Long Man of Wilmington, and he's been recently spruced up and cleaned. A lot of volunteers keep him well looked after. There he is in all his glory, 227 foot high, and nobody really knows anything prior to about 1710, I think it was. It's a mystery. Looks good up there in the early morning light, doesn't he? Anyhow, let's carry on. Look at these lovely flowers. Aren't they nice? Nettle flowers. Maybe. There was a load of stinging nettles, I know that. And I'm just looking down now over the Cuckmere Valley. Up there's Furl Beacon, the highest point in East Sussex, and a lovely view from up here at the foot of the South Downs. I don't know whether, and you can see the mist is rising off the fields in certain places, and as we pan round You can see how early I am out here, because there is the sunrise. I hope the filming has done it justice. You know, I can't believe that I used to drive coaches up through here. I don't think I was supposed to, but I used to bring them up through here and in the back way to Alfriston. But I had to stop here this morning. First of all, to apologise. I wanted to film Littlington Church, which is supposedly the smallest in the country. But at the only entrance to it, somebody looks as though they're building something, and a whole load of vehicles are completely blocked off the entrance. There's no way could I get past them. Very disappointed with that, but I'm standing here and the air is redolent with the smell of hops, because I'm at Church Farm. And Church Farm is now the home. There we go, see? Of the Longman Brewery. It's a little company that's built itself up from very humble, very small beginnings. We're in the back of a pub. And now here we are. They've taken over this old farm. And you've got some of the old farm buildings up there no longer in use. But the brewery, they do produce some very good ales, and I can recommend in particular one called Old Man. They have a cafe and a tap room, and during the opening hours, of course, they're not open at the moment. It's only 5:05 in the morning, but there we are. If you're ever round this way, drop in, buy a bottle or three. It's not a church up there, I don't think. Or is it? I'll leave the car there, it's not doing any harm. Oh, it is. It's a village church. It's another one with weatherboarding and shingled spiralette. Wow. There's some lovely stained glass in there, look. Beautiful. I'll leave the car where it is for the moment. It's not doing anybody any harm. Did I tell you we're in the village of Littlington? Here we go. There are Commonwealth war graves here. The parish church of St Michael the Archangel, Littlington. Another very active church within the South Downs. And look at some of these trees. Look at that one. Those little trunks have got a story to tell, haven't they, hey? My word. Magnificent. We're right opposite Alfriston at the moment, where of course there is another church, which is the Cathedral of the South Downs. Fuchsias. Wow. Through the cobwebs. I'm not sure that we can go in. I will try the door. Feels quite warm in here. I should imagine it is. Yes, it is locked. as I thought it would be. That's a nice little touch. In memory of Nancy J, 1901 to 1997. I often wonder what these little windows were for on the side. Were they so the rector could hand out alms to the poor? The woodwork in there, it's got some age to it, hasn't it? It's got to be a Norman church in origin. I'll find out a bit more information and get back to you on that one. In the meantime, I'm going to close the door. I was amazed how warm it was inside there. And we'll just take a quick last look around this graveyard. I'm not going to go walking around it. It's not grass is a bit slippery underfoot. But anyway, that's the parish church of Littlington. Listen to the bird song. Look, there's another view. Look, isn't that nice? Just the very faint hint of the sound of the traffic on the A27, although we're a few miles south of it now. I can smell those hops. The smell of beer brewing. And of course the bird song. There we are, there's another look. The farmhouse there. I'm not going to film in there. The Longman Brewery and Littlington Church. There we go. Well, the church, indeed, part of it dates back to the 12th century, and with various rebuildings and renovations, 13th, 14th and 16th. The font isn't as old as one might hope. It's a 15th century font there, but I'm now in the village of Littlington. Just down the road there are the tea rooms, which I'm pleased to see are still in operation. I'm coming to have a look here, and I'm a bit disappointed. It's Elizabeth, but this is interesting. Another company in Stirlingshire was still making post boxes after the 1950s. There you go. That's interesting. Don't often see that on the post boxes. The birds are not very happy that I'm here, but that's just tough. There's something you don't expect to see in a tiny place like this: a bus stop. But if you remember when I was in Ripon Charlton, I told you about the Southdown bus service that used to go through here, the 98 or 98A, whatever it was, and so therefore that's where its stop would be, in the village. I'm just taking a little walk up the road here, because this is quite a nice little village. Haven't been here for years, but we used to come out here occasionally. Excuse me. The Plough and Harrow. It's got a little bit of age to it, but with modern additions to cope with today's customers. but rather nicely done. There. Hopefully, you'll go and give them some custom if my videos give you an incentive to come and take a look at some of these little villages. There was another door in that building there at one time, so it's been converted. I mean, you'd have to pay a fortune to live here, but aren't these houses lovely? Little gems, not that far off the main road, in places you didn't know you didn't know. There's a chestnut tree, and we've got a car coming. And I've got a wave. He shouldn't be troubled by my car, there's plenty of room to get by. But this time of year you've got to be very careful because people leave windows open, and I don't want to intrude on their privacy, but there are some lovely properties here. And there we are looking towards High and Over. This house on the corner is called Thatched Cottage, and you can almost imagine the thatch on all of these houses at one time, because one clue I always find, which I hope I'm right on, is that if the roof has a steep pitch, there's every possibility that it would have had a thatch at one time. And you can imagine coming through here, and almost every building would have had a thatch roof. But, sadly you don't see too many of them now. But there you go, Littlington. One thing I've noticed, the back roads in this county, round here, are in a damn sight better state than the main roads. Work that one out. Of course, being on the South Downs, what is the freely available local building material? Flint. And there's plenty of it here. Look. Lovely, lovely. People must think I'm mad, wandering up and down the street at this time of the morning, chatting away. But it's nice, it's quiet. The sun's coming up, the birds are singing. I mean, best time of day to be waking out. I ought to do it more often, but if I did, I'd probably get too tired. Anyway, we're back at the car now, and we'll move on to the next port of call.